the whole concept for Desert Games really started in June 2011. And I knew I was going to shoot a movie that summer, and I knew I kind of wanted to embrace the spectacular beauty of California, especially the desert theme was always something I was really keen on after I saw this movie called Casino by Martin Scorsese. And I knew I was kind of going for a kind of desert drama piece. But I really wanted to make it a little bit different. I really wanted to take two different elements, two different genres, and kind of put them together. So I started brainstorming the idea of taking the Western genre and merging it with the gangster mob Las Vegas kind of business environment, and that's how Desert Games got created. I wrote the script in probably 3 weeks, and I remember the whole idea for the plot actually came to me when I was taking a shower, and in the shower I just had this sudden picture in my head of two guys just standing in the middle of nowhere, and one guy pointing a gun at the other, and a girl being in the middle of both of them. And that picture just, it stuck in my head, so I ran out of the shower and just went to my desk and started drawing it. And I drew that picture, and that picture was basically the inspiration for the script that I wrote in these 3 weeks. I knew I needed somebody really tough, tall, built for the role of Bruce Bergman, who was a kind of really shady, dark, rough businessman, a type of cowboy, rough cowboy that I needed to cast. And so I called up Evan Weinstein, who was a friend of mine who I knew from college back then in New Jersey, and I called him up because he was currently starting off his acting career in Los Angeles at that time, and I was like, Evan, could you play a bad guy? Because Evan, I've seen his pictures and of the students film he's been in, and he usually plays comedy characters, really funny guys. So I was like, would you feel comfortable in playing something completely different and playing a bad guy? And he was like, yeah, I would love to play a bad guy. It would be something new, something different. And that's how it started with Evan. We met up in a restaurant on Sunset Boulevard a couple of days later, and I showed him the script, and he really liked it, and we fleshed out the character, and he came up with ideas that the character should have, and I had ideas, and we just brainstormed it, created Bruce Bergman, the shady business guy from Vegas, together for the role of Alison Stefani, who was a really kind of emotional, disappointed showgirl from Las Vegas. I really wanted to, have somebody who had that visual look that kind of compared, that was similar to Sharon Stone in Casino. And I knew right away I wanted Angeline. There was no question about it. I've seen Angeline's movies, and I've seen a couple of plays, and I knew about Inside, the feature film she was in. So I knew she was capable of playing a really large variety of roles, and I just, while I was writing the script, I really pictured her as, while I was writing it, I pictured her and I kind of wrote the lines for her, because I knew she would be the perfect fit for that role. And so I talked to her, and we actually met up at the Roosevelt Hotel for drinks in Hollywood. I just was like, this girl is really, this girl you're supposed to play is really a girl that had to face a lot of disappointments in life, and is really emotionally drained, and was let down by men, and abused, and had a really tough life as a showgirl in Vegas, and she really was, Angeline really was completely embracing that role and coming up with elements she had in mind, how to play that character, what to wear, and what the background story was. So she really put a lot of effort into that role, researching it, and I actually gave her probably 2 or 3 movies to watch. One of it being Casino, I think, with Sharon Stone, or a couple of scenes at least, and I was like, watch these movies and study the character, and she watched them and really took a lot of different elements from different movies and made it her own. And for the role of the Swiss, it's a funny story because the Swiss is somehow a really mysterious character we don't know about. We don't find out about him a lot. And he's this European shady businessman who doesn't show a lot of emotion, who really stays quiet, doesn't talk a lot during the entire story, and we don't really find out a lot about this character. And I kind of wanted it that way. I wanted him to be a question mark through the entire movie, and I wanted the audience to kind of put a puzzle together and try to, everybody can have their own interpretation of who the Swiss is and what his motives really are. He's kind of a puppeteer in the background who's pulling the strings. And I never planned to play the character myself. I mean, it was kind of obvious that I could play a European character, because of my background and all that. But I didn't intend it to be that way, and I talked to Thom about it, and till the end, we really planned to have somebody else play the role. But for one reason or another, we couldn't find the right guy, and production had to start, and I just decided, what, I wrote this character, I can play it. I have a visual look to it, and I can do the accent. So in the end, I played the Swiss while directing a movie, which was challenging. Being a director and acting, and running out of a shot, going back in. It was a really big challenge. And well, after I had everything figured out in terms of plot and stories and actors, I had to go down to the finance of it, and I thought this movie could be done for about $3,000. Turned out it was a little bit more, but most of it really went down in fees and permissions and equipment, and financially I invested a lot of my own personal money in this, but obviously it was too much to just bear it all on my shoulders, and so I went to a lot of family members, a lot of friends. I asked everybody I knew if they could invest a little amount of money into this movie, and most of them did. I mean, I had a lot of people in the crew who really, spontaneously decided to invest their money into this picture, which was a great proof of loyalty and trust in my ability to make this movie happen. And I thank each one of them. But in the end, I also approached Angeline for financing, because I knew she had her own production company called Cassiopeia Productions LLC, and I asked her, look, if you could, invest some money into this picture, you could have your production company as the second production company that brings out this movie, and then you should just start it off with Cassiopeia Productions. And I knew she was always looking for new projects to produce, so I told her about it, and she really liked it, and she really was happy, and she agreed. And so in the end, it was Levi Omer Pictures and Cassiopeia Productions LLC, creating this movie. It's a joint effort, and the shoot itself wouldn't have been possible without Alex Miller, who was the greatest cinematographer I could have asked for. I met him through an internship at a film distribution company. In the end, Alex was really a tremendous help on this shoot. Alex Miller was a guy I met at New Films International, a film distribution company, where we worked together. And I knew he was a cinematographer, and I asked him if he was interested in shooting this short feature with me. And I sent him the script, and he really liked it, and it went from there. We sat together a couple of times and agreed on the visual look we wanted for the film. And what we did was to watch a couple of old spaghetti western, for example, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, and we would watch these movies and study the cinematography and discuss what kind of elements we wanted to take from the old western, spaghetti western, and what we wanted to enhance or change up or do different in this film. And Alex was just so involved from pre-production until the end of production. He just kept going, kept putting in ideas, and tried to solve all kinds of problems and find solutions. And he was under a lot of pressure during the shoot, because I remember he once made a comparison. He said he was like a news cameraman. That's how fast he had to shoot stuff. And we literally only had 2 days on set, and Alex just managed to, film the entire story from beautiful angles and from interesting shots and perspectives in that short amount of time, which was incredible. And it was, the heat was just driving everybody crazy. Everybody would, after takes, it would just go into the cars with air conditioning and just chill out there. And we only could shoot for about 15-20 minutes, and then we had to take a break because it was just too hot to stay out there. I remember I had so much sunscreen on my face that some of it went to my eyes, and I started crying because my eyes were like burning like hell, and it was mixing up with all the makeup, and it was crazy. And for me, being a director and acting in this movie was challenging, to say the least, but it would put additional pressure on as far as having the overview as a director, but at the same time, being in the story and finding the character and not getting distracted by anything. But the shoot, actually, I must say, the crew and the actors, everybody was so passionate and put so much effort into it, and really tried to make the best out of the heat situation we had. And I'm really grateful to all of them for making this movie possible during this entire hot, unbearable shoot. So once I had the entire footage, I flew back to New Jersey and gave the entire footage to Sean Kimball, who was already my editor on... He's been my editor on a previous film called The Opportunist, which was shot in college. And I told him, Sean, I would love for you to be the editor on this and to kind of lead the entire post-production of this movie. And he was not only the editor, but he also did the color correction, the visual effects, the sound edit, and the sound effects on this movie. So it was quite a lot from his side, quite a lot of work he had to do. It was a really difficult process because what he would do is he would, cut one edit and send it over the internet. I would watch it here in Munich, write down my corrections, and send it back to him. And he would, adjust the edit and send another edit back. And this back and forth would go on for months and months and months, and we had probably over 20 edits until we really had something we were both pleased with. So it took us over a year and a half to really come up with a cut that was actually both from a professional standpoint, from a professional and from an artistic standpoint, the way we wanted it. And he really put a lot of effort into color correction. He replaced the entire sky, because on the day we were shooting, we had clouds and we had this really gray type of sky, which I didn't like. I really had envisioned this kind of sunset look with red and orange and purple, pink sky, and that we didn't have that on the set. So what he did, he really took the time to replace every single shot. In every shot, he basically got rid of the actual sky that was recorded and replaced it with this beautiful, sunset sky that he did. It's like he took a brush and really did some great brush strokes across the sky, making it look like a painting. It really does look like a painting when you look at the master shots. You see Alex Miller's cinematography flawlessly, blending in to Sean Kimball's color correction, and will both combine and just complement each other and complete each other. So for the music of Desert Games, I knew I needed a composer that was capable of creating a track a musical track that was kind of retro music, like the old spaghetti western, but at the same time really fresh and unique in its style. And luckily I met Omer during a party in Beverly Hills, and I told him about the movie we just shot, and I told him what kind of music I was envisioning for Desert Games, and he really got interested and really said he wanted to score the music for the movie. So, same story as with Sean. I came back to Germany, and Omer would, he would get the edit from me, and he would, start scoring the music and send me over musical tracks, and I would just go through them and send back corrections and suggestions. And it also went back and forth for a couple of months until we had a musical feel that both of us felt was appropriate for the movie. Especially the Desert Games theme is something that really shows off Omer's ability to create a score that includes all the Western typical stereotype elements, but manages to be different and authentic and new. So the Desert Games theme is a musical piece that you will hear reappear in the movie several times, and it's a specific theme, but it changes, it varies every time you hear it. It's a little bit different, and that's what makes it interesting to hear a familiar melody, and to have that melody adapt to various situations. Well, the movie is pretty much finished by now. We worked on it for over a year and a half, and everybody did an amazing job. I mean, the crew, the cast, everybody in post-production, the producers. I mean, I can't thank everybody enough for what they did on this movie, and I hope you all enjoy it. Check out all the updates on our Facebook page, the Desert Games Chronicle, and stay tuned. We soon will, send the movie out to film festivals, and hopefully you'll do well. And if you want a copy of the movie, just contact me and I'll be glad to send you one. Thank you.